Isn't it such a weird thing? Maybe I'm the only one that notices this, but it seems to me that when some of these small to AA games launch first on Xbox or Xbox Game Pass, we see that those games don't last as long as for being exclusive as the ones that come to PlayStation first. A good example of this would be a game that is coming to PlayStation this year that actually just came out not long ago on Xbox, which is the game Tunic. Now, that game is coming to PlayStation, which is a bit of a surprise that it's coming there so soon. But according to this, like Sony announced this at their big showcase event the other day. The Zelda-inspired adventure game from developer Finji will release for PS5 and PS4 later this year. The game was released for Xbox and PC earlier in the year as part of Xbox and PC Game Pass, and will now arrive on PlayStation platforms on September 17th. Crafted to evoke classic action-adventure games, Tunic stars a heroic fox as they explore a foreign land that hides danger around every corner. Now, this is basically sort of, you know, a game that a lot of people liked. It was reviewed very well. I think this game was made by a single person, but anyway, again, I've been saying this for a long time. These little deals like this, they don't last for long. They always end up going to, you know, everything else. So people have to kind of keep that in mind as we go along as well. We keep seeing these deals come about where the games are announced and then they end up going to the other platform as soon as they can make it. But on Sony's side, you still have stuff like Kena, Bridge of Spirits, or you still have stuff like Sifu, which were PlayStation exclusives, and there's nothing really saying that they can't come to Xbox, I guess, but for some reason there's deals signed or maybe money involved. I don't know. Something tells me Microsoft isn't paying money for these. It's just that it's a really good deal for a lot of the developers because, you know, it's one of those things where they get a bit of a bonus out of it by launching it into Game Pass first. So again, it's a little bit weird. I feel like Microsoft should at some point start to make a little bit of waves by going out there and landing some of the bigger stuff as well effectively. And I mentioned this years ago. You know, I really did mention this years ago. To me, it's a little bit ridiculous the way that these things kind of go about, whereas I like Phil, I like the direction of Xbox, I like the Xbox platform, I think it's amazing. But effectively, by not locking down exclusive content, you're assuring that that your people, your fan base, will be locked out of content anyway, because the competition will be able to do that. So, you know, it's something that they should maybe keep an eye on. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, look, Sony is really going out of their way to, you know, do these things for themselves, to put themselves in the best possible position to succeed, right? And that's just the God's honest truth. They're doing that to help themselves succeed. And a lot of people, even though they think that, you know, the new PlayStation Plus wasn't a competition for Game Pass, clearly it is, because one of the bigger indies is now confirmed as a PlayStation Plus premium game at launch, which is the game Stray. Players in the highest two tiers will get the game for no additional cost. The game will release on July 19, 2022, and for players in the highest two tiers of PlayStation Plus's new refresh, will be downloadable for free at launch. The game, which is being worked on by Blur 12, a studio made up of former Ubisoft developers, has been in development since 2016. Stray will be published by Annapurna Interactive. In a post on PlayStation blog, Swan Martin, a producer at Blue 12 Studio, said, "The vision for this game, initially named HK Project, started 7 years ago. By the co-founders of Blue 12 Studio. It really is amazing to see that it is now an actual full-fledged game and will be experienced and hopefully enjoyed by so many players all across the world very soon." Blue 12 Studio has revealed that the studio had several real-life cats in studio for inspiration and animation reference. "We even have 2 cats in the studio working with us almost every day. They called Oscar and June, and even if they're not the most productive employees, to be honest, they definitely add a lot of level of cheeriness and liveliness to the studio." Originally revealed during the PlayStation Future of Gaming event in 2020, the game was originally scheduled to release in 2021 before it was delayed. Obviously, games getting delayed with you know, the pandemic and stuff, that makes a lot of sense. The other thing is, like, what I've been talking about, like, so Sony makes these big deals with third-party games as well. You see stuff like Final Fantasy 16 is going to be exclusive at least for some time on PlayStation. Forspoken, at least a 2-year PlayStation exclusive deal there. These things keep happening, and I feel like Microsoft needs to really get out of there and do something similar. I mean, listen, I get that Phil doesn't want to keep things off other platforms. I totally understand that, but also these things would help if you're actually not going to be able to meet your deadlines and your game release deadlines, and that's something that people should be really kind of paying attention to, right? Like, again, their 2 games that they had, the only 2 games they had technically scheduled for this year, were both pushed into next year, which leaves a whole year with no first-party content. So Microsoft should be making deals anyway that would help fill it in and would have served as a good backdrop. And even if they don't have exclusive stuff, I mean, they can still kind of save the day by making something like Gotham Knights into Game Pass Day 1, or Saints Row, or both, or, you know, Madden, something. I think they're going to need to do multiple things to keep people happy, and that's going to be tough to see exactly what happens long term with these type of deals. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see if Microsoft ever does break away from the mold that they're currently in to do something drastic to kind of shake things up. And, you know, I think it's going to be very interesting to see if they can actually pull that off. You know, it's going to be, like I said, they can sit there and they can do what they're doing now, because it's proven that Game Pass will continue to be successful regardless of, you know, some of the bigger hits and stuff like that. Over a 2-year period where Microsoft had pretty much no big AAA first-party releases into Game Pass themselves, it still doubled in size. So, you know, a lot of people might not care, but I still think you need to keep on top of it, since Sony does seem hell-bent on making a Game Pass competitor that is releasing games, you know, day 1 as well, which is completely different than what they were doing previously. So yeah, it's very interesting to see that happen. And you know, overall, I think Microsoft has to improve their offering to stay ahead of the game of where they're at right now. You know, and people want to see that. People want to see those big game releases. They want to see, you know, what happens in the future with these type of releases. And I know for a fact that Microsoft probably has some kind of contingency plan. But if you think about it, if they would have had some of these contingency plans in place to begin with, they wouldn't probably have to rush and go, oh, well, maybe we can land us Gotham Knights or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Gotham Knights or whatever in Game Pass Day 1. But imagine if they actually had, you know, their games ready or some other kind of deal, then they wouldn't even have to bother with that. And so I think that's the part that people kind of are most frustrated with. So I'm sure we're going to see some stuff about it in the future. But until then, like, Sony seems to have all the stuff pretty much well in hand. Like, you would think that Game Pass would be killing them, and it's really not. You know, it's very interesting to see how these things have changed over the years. But with that being said, I'm going to link this stuff in the description below. You guys can check it out. If you watch the video, like the video, it helps it to be seen and the channel to grow. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.